Alright guys, this is GameboyLuke here, and welcome to another top 5 that I have for you guys today. Now I know I haven't done a top 5 in a while, but I finally got a new layout, a professional layout with a professional setup, so that top 5s have now become a lot easier to edit and stuff. So hopefully, from now onwards, I should be able to get top 5s out more often for you guys. For this top 5, I'm going to be doing my top 5, or redoing my top 5 favorite Pokemon, because ever since I did my first one, which was about a year and a half ago, obviously my opinion has changed, and I wanted to redo it with the new layout as an introductory and a return for the top 5 series coming back to GameboyLuke on a regular basis. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. In the number 5 spot, we have Tangela. Now, Tangela was, it's one of those Pokemon that I don't know why I like it. I just do. I guess there is some reasoning behind it, though. Going back and thinking about Tangela, and when I first started a craze or a love for this Pokemon, and it was when I was way back doing Battle Spot series, the To Be a Master series I did a long time ago, when I very first introduced it. And someone told me in the comment section, yo, you should use Tangela, because Tangela's a beast. And I was like, Tangela? I mean, I'll use it, I'll give it a shot. And when I brought it to Battle Spot, I want you to know, it could take 2 Brave Birds from a Talonflame, and it could take a skill-linked Pin Missile from Mega Heracross. And I sat there like, whoa, this Pokemon is so underground. Like, why do people not use this Pokemon? It was incredible. Like, I don't know what it is about Tangela, and I guess its little red boots kind of rubbed off on me, if you know what I'm saying. But if you look at their defense stat, it's not even a fully evolved Pokemon. So when you slap an Eviolite on this thing, its defense rises over 160, over 170 even. So its base defense does go a little bit crazy, and then all you have to do is put investments in HP, and this thing becomes an incredibly defensive tank. I know it's not the best typing, because grass obviously has quite a lot of weaknesses, but still, regardless, this thing is crazy. I've used it, and it's probably one of the reasons I actually pulled it from my UCL draft as well, because Tangela is definitely resonated with me, and I really want to use it. And I want to use it the last 2 weeks that we have with the UCL as well. I do want to get him in there, because I know he can put work. I know he can put work in. He just needs time, alright? In the number 4 spot, we have a returning Pokemon, Scizor. Now, you're probably going to see a handful of Pokemon from my UCL draft for Season 1 in this top 5, because a lot of the Pokemon that I picked for my UCL draft are Pokemon that I like to use, and Pokemon that I like in general. So there are a couple of Pokemon in this top 5 that, are from my UCL draft. Now, Scizor in the previous top 5, which will be linked in the description below, was in 2nd place, if I remember correctly. Now, he's dropped to 4th because there are obviously some more Pokemon that have taken his spot and have risen up the ranks to become the favorite Pokemon of GameboyLuke. But Scizor is still one of those really cool Pokemon that was introduced in Generation 2, and I was already a fan of Scyther. In Generation 1, he wasn't all that useful because he didn't have a very good moveset. But when I heard or saw Scizor in the anime, and the way he spoke, his cry, the way he acted, how fast he was, and being an evolution from Scyther, which is a Pokemon I already kind of liked, the design-wise, seeing the Crimson Red Scizor, Real Steel right here, blew my mind. I thought it was absolutely incredible, and it was also one of those things where it wasn't an easy Pokemon to get, because way back when, Gold, Silver, and Crystal, you could only trade with friends over a trade cable, and getting one of those, and you only ever got one metal coat in Gold and Silver, and it was like not until you travel from Johto to Kanto, so you couldn't get a Scizor until after you've beaten the Elite Four. Nobody wants to have a Scyther for that long, not especially in 1st generation, 2nd generation, when it doesn't really have any good moves. But regardless of that, I used to give myself a metal coat really early on in the game just so I could use Scizor, because I love his design. And now obviously, in later generations, Generation 6 and 5, he has Technician, he can Mega Evolve, everything about him looks sick. He has so much usage. You can run him in so many different ways. And that's what I like about him most, is that he can be run defensively, offensively. You can even whack special defense in there to try and take a couple fire type attacks, which I think is absolutely incredible. But I mean, all I have to say about Scizor is that he looks cool, and that's probably one of the determining factors that make me want to like a Pokemon. And then the rest of it comes with it, depending on what type it is, what moves it gets. Steel typing is awesome anyways. I don't know, Scizor's just there for me. In number 3, we have Suicune. Now, Suicune is probably one of my most favorite legendary Pokemon, and I tried to not include like the main legendary Pokemon in this top 5 because I feel like I can do like a whole separate top 5 for legendary Pokemon on its own. But I had to include Suicune because, in all honesty, you know, we got Gold and Silver. That was pretty cool. We had Lugia and Ho-Oh. And actually, now that I think about it, Suicune kind of is a main legendary because it had its own game. Pokemon Crystal had Suicune on the front. And that's what, you know, I'd never seen like one of the trio Pokemon on a game before, like on the cart. So this Pokemon already kind of jumped out at me like, well, okay, you're kind of special. Then when I met it in Crystal and you fight against it, and it's this Pokemon that you have to keep chasing down and keep interacting with, and it teases you so much. But you finally get to battle Suicune in Crystal, and the battle music is, oh my god, that music is fire. And I don't know, Suicune's design looks really, really nice. It really does. It's got this huge, like, kind of crystal design on the front of it, like on its mane, on its forehead. I don't know what to call it. It's got these crazy ass ribbons, which a lot of people slate it for. But in all honesty, I don't know what it is about Suicune, but Suicune's defenses are absolutely incredible. And of course, you know, Suicune is a Pokemon on the UCL, on our UCL team for the season 1, and look at it. Look at it, it looks so proud, it looks so powerful. It's just got this aura about it that makes me think, you're good. You're a cool Pokemon. You like to stand up in front of all these guys and say like, hey, I'm powerful. Screw you. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but Suicune is definitely a top Pokemon for me just because of its design. And for those that don't know, my favorite color is blue, of course. And mixing it with purple is always a good thing. You know, that's always a good mix, to be honest with you. The fact that it's a water type as well is, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of water types, but Suicune definitely, you know, just hits home for me. It's a really, really cool Pokemon in terms of design, and I think I've said that like 3 times now, but I can't get over it. It just, I don't know, everything just flows. No pun intended, water flowing, but it just looks great. The way the ash rivers move in terms of, it's like a flowing river. And I think also one thing about Suicune, especially seeing it in the 4th movie, the fact that it purifies water, and Suicune isn't just some dainty dog or dainty cat or whatever you want to call it. It's a powerful beast that has purpose, and, you know, I don't know, man, it's just awesome. In the number 2 spot, we have Lucario. Now, Lucario used to be my favorite Pokemon, but he has dropped down to placement number 2, and I can already tell a bunch of you right now are thinking or commenting right this second that I know exactly what your first choice is. But Lucario is here because Lucario has always been a really, really cool Pokemon for me. I never really liked him until he really came out in Smash Brawl, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Lucario was a really fun character to play, and he was my main for the longest time. And then Project M came out, and Project M did crazy work with Lucario, and it just fueled my love for this Pokemon. Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, of course, the movie really showed Lucario's stubbornness and his powerfulness, if that's even a word. But I really like the whole idea of aura, and the fact that he can channel his aura and command it at his will. And the fact that this guy is voiced by Goku in Brawl and PM. Can we just point that out? Lucario's voice is Goku from Dragon Ball Z. That's huge. That also is probably one of the subconscious things in the back of my mind that make me like Lucario, because I always used to watch DBZ as a kid. So, I don't know, Lucario kind of, and is shiny as well. Not to mention, it's shiny. He goes Super Saiyan when he's shiny. I don't know, this Pokemon is the embodiment of Dragon Ball Z right here. And it's probably one of the reasons, or main reasons, that I like him. The fact that also Lucario can be run both offensively and specially offensive is really, really interesting, because obviously before he Mega Evolves, his special attack is actually higher than his physical attack. His signature move, Aura Sphere, of course, one of my favorite moves in the game. And when he Mega Evolves, he gets the adaptability boost. And of course, he's an absolute monster, ran physically or specially offensive, because obviously, I mean, his physical attack raises more than his special when he Mega Evolves, but it doesn't mean that his special attack is reduced by anything. He can still be used especially offensive, and he has like all the setup moves. You know, Nappy's been putting work in with him in Season 1, and he's saying he's a proud member of the 2 songs from Arceus. I can hear him already, but Lucario is definitely a really great Pokemon and a very good pick for him. I totally would have grabbed him first if I had the chance. But Lucario, definitely one of my favorite Pokemon, and used to be my favorite Pokemon. But with that being said, I can already hear the voices screaming at me, guessing what placement number 1 is, but let's get into that now. In the number 1 spot, of course, we have Rotom. Now, I want to tell you guys a story. Rotom was never even a Pokemon on the radar for me. I knew about him, but didn't really know much. I just knew that he was a Pokemon that you found in the old Chateau, and that was it. That's all I knew. Rotom became an interesting Pokemon to me as soon as I realized that actually this Pokemon can take on the form of household appliances such as an oven, a washing machine, a fan, a refrigerator. And when the idea proposed to me that, you know, what if Rotom went inside of a Game Boy? You'd have a Game Boy Rotom. And instantly, that second it clicked. I was like, yo, Rotom is a freaking cool Pokemon. Putting those ideas together and then creating my own Rotom, or getting it commissioned and drawn by an artist, and visualizing that and putting it in front of me, sold it to me instantly. Rotom is such an interesting Pokemon. I can easily say this Pokemon is completely different to anything else out there. It has such a unique typing. It can change its form 5 different times. It has 6 different forms. It has its original form, and then has the Heat, Wash, Fan, Freeze, and Mow. And the fact that it can change its type is absolutely incredible. So it has so much usage. You can use Rotom Heat. They all have the same base stats. When it changes into its normal into its form, it can be ran defensively. It can be ran offensively. Depending on what type you choose, it can be used to counter team. It's really, really cool. And I don't know, Rotom G, if that was a thing, would also be incredible, and definitely would be one hell of a determining factor to why I like Rotom. But another thing as well that was shown to me was Rotom's personality in the anime. Now, you don't see many episodes of Rotom, but I think recently Rotom was shown in the anime, and he has such an incredible personality. He's just so happy and creepy and so hyper all the time, and you can see that from his sprites in X and Y as well. In ORAS, he's so bouncy and so full of energy and always jumping around and stuff, and I really like that about him. I really do. Like, there aren't very many Pokemon you see that act all hyped out and stuff like that, and I think that's one thing I really, really do like, and I probably will have to try and catch that episode just to see what Rotom's like in full force, because he's definitely one of those Pokemon, I think, that just, that just resonate with me and click with me. And ever since, the whole Rotom Game Boy thing was proposed to me, he's really kind of just sank in. And I just, I just have like an undying love for this Pokemon. If I can get something made from Rotom, I'll get it. The plush dolls. I want to get a Rotom Game Boy doll made. All this stuff, man. I just love Rotom. Rotom's a cool ass Pokemon, and I'm sure you guys already knew that this was gonna be my number 1, but it's obvious. There it is. And there it is, that's my top 5 favorite Pokemon as of October 2015, I guess. I want you guys to know also that I don't ever script my top 5s. I only ever maybe script the introduction, but the rest of it is done in 1 or 2 takes, because I feel like when I'm thinking about a Pokemon, I should just go with it. I should just let my mouth run off and say everything I like about that Pokemon as I look at it, rather than writing down a whole bunch of lists and stuff, because otherwise it's not going to sound too great. And I kind of, I don't like that. And I know people don't particularly like scripted videos, so I kind of just, I just run with it. So if I do stutter and any of that, then, I do apologize. But when you just look at your favorite Pokemon, sometimes you're lost for words, or you just want to say all this stuff all at the same time, and it's not the easiest thing to form into words in a logical sentence whilst you're recording. So yeah, with that being said, if you guys have enjoyed, go ahead and click a thumb down below and leave some feedback in the comment section for me, as it is greatly appreciated. What do you think of the new layout? I'm a huge fan of it, and I really like how I've made it automated, so like now when I do a top 5 next time, I don't have to reanimate everything. I can basically just replace images and it will be done already. So hopefully top 5s will be a more consistent thing now. But, if you guys want to see this sort of thing weekly, let me know down below. It would be greatly appreciated. And I also want you guys to let me know what kind of top 5 I'm going to do next. We could do top 5 specific types. We could do top 5 generation Pokemon. And obviously this is mainly Pokemon, but I'm sure I could probably make a way to do like top 5 gym leaders and stuff like that as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Your support and feedback is greatly appreciated, of course. But with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next top 5.